This special class is dedicated to Ray Wynn, a great friend, a wonderful, wonderful father, and a great, great husband. He died. If you saw the last couple classes, Ray Wynn was a firefighter. Ray had serious bouts with 3 different cancers, and I'll get to that later, how he laughed and got through that. But I just now want to let you know about Ray Wynn and honor him because you saw the glorious sense of humor he had, and he's taught me so much and introduced me why first responders have to laugh. When I first met Ray Wynn, I worked for a radio station here in Kansas City, and Ray called me and wanted us to come down and do a broadcast to help save Cato, the potbelly pig. You may have read about this years ago. The fire station had their little mascot, little pet, Cato, the potbelly pig, just a little thing about that big. And they wanted to save it, and it made national news. The Kansas City Health Department said, you got to get rid of it. And they want us to help save Cato. So we did a broadcast. Matter of fact, one of the things in the broadcast, they put me in a car, in an old car, holding the pig, while they extricated me, the jaws of life, cutting me out of the car, and it was all on radio. You couldn't see it, but you could hear it, and Cato was squealing, and I was trying to talk him down and give him popcorn. It was a great broadcast, and Ray first taught me about how humor and laughter is a survival skill for firefighters.
Humor and laughter is a survival skill for firefighters, for anybody,
for
any first responder.
For firefighters, for cops, for military, for EMS, ER docs, ER nurses, shrimp boat captains.
Yeah. Pineapple shrimp, barbecue shrimp,
coconut shrimp.
So after that, I started interviewing Ray and some other firefighters, how they actually use it on the scene. And here's one of those instances. Now, you have to remember, these guys go on scenes and they see people on the worst day of their lives. And they've got to run 3 or 4 different calls. They have to find some way to deal with it at the time. So Ray told me what happened. They got to the scene. A car was smashed between 2 trucks. The impact was so great, the guy in the car was shot out of the car and was hanging dead from a street sign, a parking sign that said, no parking 9 to 5, impaled on his face. So they get there and there's no guy in the car, and they look around, and Scott, the other guy with me, said, look up there, and the guy's hanging dead with that street sign, 9 to 5, impaled in his face. And a cop comes on the scene and goes, anybody know when this happened? And of course, Ray Wynn said, yes, sir. Sometime between 9 and 5 would be my best guess. And they started laughing. I started laughing. It's a great line. And I said, Ray, you guys really laugh at stuff like that on the scene? He goes, Dave, if we don't laugh, we're puking or we're crying. And we don't have time to puke or cry, sir.
Because it gets us over that hurdle. It gets us past that emotional part of it that may negate you or may jeopardize your ability to perform.
Now, the guy that was with Ray, Scott, is going to tell a story now when I interviewed all the firefighters of what happened to him and how they pimped him about that.
I'll tell you a little story here. I shit my pants on a roof one day. I mean, this house is it's rolling, smoke going up on me, and I got a cramp. I'm up on this roof, and finally I just bled, man. I had to do it so I could open this roof up. And Ray, and they're looking for me.
They had their stick up, their ladder, so we're going up to get on the roof to help them ventilate. Well, I go into a top of a tree. You know, and I'm like, I stop and like, I said, what the hell's that smell? And then we hear, hey, I'm down here. It was Mr. Poopy Pants over here.
Remember, we talked about in the last classes how teasing each other and knowing the rules and knowing the lines, how to do it. Well, here's more of that.
He got burnt. They were on a fire on what,
27th and Vine
or something. But he got, I mean, severely burned. Skin grafts, the whole 9 yards. And so I get there, and the captain I'm relieving was at the fire with Scott, and he said, man, your boy got burnt pretty bad. He's over at KU, This, the ceiling came down, coals and melted his back. And so I call Scott, and I actually get a hold of him over, and I said, hey, did you guys roast a hog down here last night?
And them fuckers, they tried to do skin grafts on me, and I don't have enough ass to get skin grafts on me. I had to take skin off of my thighs to do my, and they were going to call me butt neck or some shit. Butt back.
Oh yeah, they called him butt back. Matter of fact, Ray set me up and said, you need to call Scott and see how he's doing and call him butt back. And Scott let me get away with that, calling him butt back, because he knew me. Again, there was that rule, the line, we knew the lines to cross because he knew me. That's the most important thing. Ray's got a great story now, how humor, laughter on the scene can not only reduce the stress, but reduce the smell.
We ran a call, and it was a combative patient, which means, the person is probably overpowering the ambulance crew. They need some assistance. to subdue the person so they can administer their medical treatment. When we get there, and we're in a house, it's on the west side, and it's tight quarters. There's a dining room, living room, and it's real tight quarters. So this guy's laying in the kitchen floor, tile floor, big man, probably 6'4" or 5", older gentleman. And I mean, he's going at it. He's getting with it. And so Scott and I get on either side of him, our captain and other firefighters behind us, and there's the families in there, and everybody's upset and everything. And as soon as we bend down to get to this guy, it's like, good God. I mean, he had lost control of his bowels. I mean, it was...
He's shit.
Yeah, he's shit. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, don't make me... This guy's like, so we get a hold of him, we get him Curlex, we take Curlex and get their arms together and legs and get him, calmed down and stuff. So we want to get him up on a spine board. So as we get ready to put him on a spine board, we pull and his pants come down. Well, it broke that barrier. And boy, it intensified the aroma in the room. And it's like, oh my God, and so we're this close to each other on each side. The family's behind it. Our captain's going, not now. Don't you start this stuff now. And I'm like, God bless. I mean, it's just like, you're not supposed to laugh in church, or whatever. You're just not. So we give him a yank. Well, by this time we've pulled his pants down, so now his bare bottom's on the tile. So it goes, he does just what he's doing right now. We start laughing. And our captain's not real happy with us. He's like, not now, damn it. We're trying to pull him up. Every time we pull him, his butt screeches on the floor. And that was one of the more trying times. And it smelled horrible. But, I think the laughter got us up on that spine board and got that whole job done, because we started laughing about it. Number one, all my years doing this, the priority is respect for the customer, which is the community, which is the people that we serve. That's number one, and it's always in the forefront. But to get through a situation is what we're talking about, and that's where the humor comes in. But the first thing is we don't do it in front of, we were talking about with some of the other folks earlier in one of your shows, and there's that line, and the only way that we'll reach out to a patient or project humor to them or make light of a situation is if they invite us across that line. Head-on collision, high impact, the car is destroyed. It looked like King Kong destroyed this car. And as we walk up to it, there's a gentleman in there. I can see his face, but I don't think there's anything going on there, And my firefighter and I are walking up to it, and I'm like, holy crap, it's just going to be a recovery situation, And this guy's like, he's in there like this. He goes, can you get me out of here? And we're like, holy, wow. I said, wait right there. So we had to go back and get our tools, and come up and go to work and got this guy out. And he survived. I mean, but he crossed the line. He goes, can you get me out? I'm like, are you shitting me? I mean,
When he laughed when you said,
oh yeah, he wasn't that badly tore up. I mean, it was amazing. The guy weighed 850 pounds, and we get in and we have to get this person onto a tarp. And
Leonard?
Yeah, we have to get this person up on a tarp, and it's taken a pumper company, a truck company, a chief. I mean, that's 12 guys, 12 guys at that time. And we roll this guy over, and I swear to God, a hoagie sandwich shoots up out of the crack of his ass, We're thinking, he's not even chewing his food, and we're just putting so much. I mean, what are you going to say? How are you going to react to that?
So many funny stories about Ray. Not all the scenes that they go on are serious life and death scenes. Ray and a couple other guys go to a scene, and they knock on the door, and an old woman answers, and she's got the door latch, and there's no smoke, no fire. They don't know what's going on. She called and said there was a fire. And she opens the door, and yes, and Ray goes, ma'am, where's the fire? She goes, there's no fire. Well, why did you call? Well, my kitty's stuck in the attic. Can you help me get it? Yes, ma'am, we will. They call down and let them know there's no fire, everything's okay. They go, where's the kitty? And so she undid the latch. She goes, she's over here in the attic, and she goes, walk this way, and I'll show you. And Ray said, Dave, she had a pretty stiff gait, and her head was cocked like this, and she just kind of was shuffling along like this. He said, since she said, walk this way, all three firefighters in full gear are following her down the hallway like this, and she can't see him. That sense of humor Ray had like that was just him. If you knew Ray, that was just him. One time at my house, at a house that I had, the basement, it didn't really flood, but the sump pump didn't work during the rain, and some water came up and covered the whole floor. And I had one of these great Persian rugs, and it's on the ground. And I go, look at that, Ray, run the rug, and he looks down, and the water, we're slushing the water. He goes, yeah, it looks like it did. He goes, do you have insurance? And I said, yeah, I do. He goes, where's the other rugs? I said, well, they're up over there. And he goes and grabs the other rugs, and he throws them on the ground and goes, hell, these are uglier than that one. You might as well get some new rugs. And you know the funny thing? I didn't have insurance on those rugs. I had to take them up and dry them off. That made Ray Wynn laugh even harder. About 2.5 weeks before Ray died, we knew the time was getting close. And Mark Williams and I went out there, and we laughed and shared stories and told some of the funniest stories. They relived the whole time at the Hyatt what happened. They talked about it and laughed, and it was just a great day. You never know anything was wrong with Ray that day. He was laughing, having fun, just being Ray, busting other people's chops. Then everybody laughed, and I said, I got to tell Ray something. So I go back in there. By this time, Ray had gotten out of his chair, and he's in bed. And I said, Ray, man, just great hanging with you. He goes, I love you, brother. And I said, I love you too. But I said, Ray, there's something I've been meaning to ask you for a long time. If I could ask you now, I think the time is right. He goes, here, brother, you can ask me anything. And I leaned into him and said, when you're gone, can I have your Corvette? He looked at me at first, and then he got it, and he started laughing. He goes, no, you can't have it. And then he said the name of a guy that we both can't stand. He goes, I'm giving it to him just to spite you. A classic Ray Wynn story. You see this thing in my hand. It's called a Nasty Blaster. It's a handheld whoopee cushion, is what it is. I made the mistake of giving one of these to Ray, and everywhere he went, he did it and just drove people crazy to the point they couldn't stand him. Ray and I went out to San Diego. I had a presentation for the San Diego Sheriff's Department, and Ray wanted to go with me, so we just went and hung out. That was just our friendship. We're laughing, having a good time. On the way down to get in the car to go to the event, we get in the elevator, and a woman gets in, and as soon as that door closes, Ray, and she shoots him a look, and he goes, ma'am, I am so sorry, but I got a seed caught in my colostomy bag. And she goes, that's okay, honey. I hope it gets better. He goes, well, that's where I'm going today to the doctor to make sure. She goes, well, you take care. And we go down. She turns her back, and we're both. And she gets up the elevator, and one more time. He goes, ma'am, I'm so sorry. She goes, honey, you take care of that. I'm sure you're going to be okay. It's Brother Ray Wynn. Oh, it was a tough one. It was a tough one. If you ever met Ray Wynn, I guarantee you never forgot him. Ray's gone, but no one will ever forget him. We're going to hear his laugh. We're going to see his laugh. We're going to remember the blaster and everything he did. And what I wanted to tell you about Ray is when Ray was going through his cancers, you know, sometimes when people get sick, they just exist, just to go through the illness. Ray Wynn never existed. Ray Wynn lived every day. Through that cancer, he's making jokes. He's kidding around with people. He has the nurses laughing at the hospital. He never, ever quit living. That's what I learned from Brother Ray. Excuse me, you can tell I'm getting emotional, but as you recall in the last class, you can't cry and clench your butt cheeks at the same time. So right now, I am clenching my cheeks, and I know Ray's appreciating that. Brother Ray, we're going to miss you, man. If you're listening now, there's one for you. But I would say, clench, I would say rest in peace, but I know better. You ain't resting, brother. You're going around tormenting people with a blaster, probably knowing you real ones, and you're out playing golf, having a great time making people laugh, because that's what you and your brother Ed did. Thank you, Ray Wynn. Clench, thank you for letting me share this class with you and sharing the wisdom, the brilliance, the humor, my friend, Ray Wynn.